6 to 9 with Blue Suede Forever and Steve Bowers on 93.1 WTJS, the talk of Jackson.
Brent Ward is in the house. We're talking about cars and trips and convertibles and all kinds of fun things. Oh, yeah, that if I move that up, they can hear you.
That's the only thing I've learned since I've been sitting up here the whole entire time is my button has to be up.
Well, apparently I haven't learned that yet because I didn't move it up there. I was being selfish. I moved mine up and not yours.
Well, in Jimmy's defense, we were talking about cars right before we came on the air. So he was in a whole other mind frame.
I was in my little zone
yeah,
there.
That's okay. I like that zone because, I was out of town for some training while I was gone, and the place I stayed Saturday night, a friend of mine has a condo down there, and we kind of hung out down there. Well, there's a chain of liquor stores, Cash's Liquor Stores. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but they're all over the place down in Florida, I guess. Right. Anyways, he has the penthouse in this condo that we were in.
Whoa.
And he owns something like 20 cars, and about half of them are parked there at the condo.
I bet they love
just
that.
out on the lot. Well, he has to rent all these spaces.
Yeah.
But he's got some underneath that he rents that are covered, and he's got a bunch out. But this is what he had. He has like 5 Thunderbirds, all of them different. Every single one of them different.
Yep.
All 5 of them parked outside in the weather. All 5 of them. Okay. But then on top of that, he also had like one of those Mercedes AMG 2-door Hammer type things, like those 80-something thousand or more cars. It's also just outside in the parking lot. He also had a black Bentley out there, 2-door Bentley, also parked outside in the parking lot.
Oh, that salt and the black paint are really going to work well together.
Then he had a white 4-door soft top Bentley on the inside. It was parked underneath.
There you go.
And but everything has his name over it. It says Cash's on it. Everything, and he has a different license plate. One of them said I'm lazy. One of them, every license plate's custom and says something different on it. But what's funny is the lady I was with, that my wife and I were with, she said the one car that he drives all the time is a convertible Volkswagen Bug that he leaves parked underneath all the time, and that's like what he drives. He's a big Auburn fan. That's where he graduated.
Oh,
so
man.
Everything's got Auburn all over.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
It was just funny. I was just like, all these cars just sitting out here in the weather, as you mentioned. And I was just like, it's crazy because I used to have a Ford Thunderbird. And
my Camaro is an anniversary edition, and it's basically a dark gray, but it has a little orange accents here, there, and yonder.
Yeah.
I pulled up to the pig house the other day, and David Clifton came to the window. David is a rabid UT fan. He said, how many more games before you pull that orange off of that hood? I said, if you look a little bit closer, that's not Tennessee orange anymore. That is Texas orange.
That's right.
I'm not going to wash it and make it be Tennessee orange until they win. So I may have a dirty car for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I've seen that orange stripe on your car. Yeah, it's not exactly what I call Tennessee orange.
No, it's not. It's not. That is 50th anniversary Camaro orange.
Yeah, that's a good-looking car you got out there.
I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Well, we talk real estate for this 30, 40-minute segment every Monday morning, and our sponsors are Leaders Mortgage Services, Angie Hooten Hughes, Allstate Insurance, and Bird & Bird Attorneys, and sponsored by, of course, the Central West Tennessee Association of Realtors, the voice for real estate. Now, I got a text from some guy named Ward this morning, and he said, I'm going to talk about things that we haven't talked about before.
That's right.
Yeah, and things, honestly, I'm not real up on some of this stuff either, so I'm going to learn something today. Wholesale buyers, assignable contracts, and possibly iBuyers.
Yes. Now,
and then you wrapped it up. You said, maybe we need to call it seller beware.
I thought that was a nice, catchy title for it since we Facebook Live all
You
of
usually
this.
hear buyer beware because the seller's got the upper hand most of the time.
Most of the time, that's right. In this particular case, that's why I named this one Seller Beware, because there's a lot of things that are going on out there that I keep hearing about and I keep getting approached from other realtors about, and I see online, and it's just crazy what the real estate world is actually going through right now. And there's a lot of changes, don't get me wrong, and, and you got to stay in front of those changes, but some of them, like with anything else, some of them are questionable, so you just have to be careful about it. And we have talked about iBuyers a little bit in the past, and just that's more of a national issue, not something you've really seen in our area much. But I just came back from a real estate convention. Is where I came from. It's Tennessee Real Estate Convention, and that came up in conversation. So it's in Nashville, and they've seen a little bit of it in Memphis, and I heard Knoxville talking about it a little bit as well too. So our 3 big market areas have already seen it, and maybe Chattanooga a little bit too. But the iBuyer platform is basically online sites that have basically created their own mortgage companies, and they're out buying properties from homeowners through their site, through their online site. And it's a kind of an attack on realtors by basically not using the term commission. Basically say we don't charge any commissions, but that's such a lie. They charge commissions all over the place. They just don't call them commissions.
They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
No, of course not. Anytime anybody's making money, they're not doing it out of necessarily the goodness of their heart, especially if you knew some of the fees that were involved, because a lot of these are, they call them like professional fee, or they'll call it, transaction fee, or whatever the case, whatever they call it. They just don't use the word commission on it. Right. But when it's all over and done, you end up paying, in some cases, 3 times more for selling your property than you would if you just used a traditional real estate agent and done it the way that it's been done for 100 years.
What would entice somebody to do that, though? Just not knowing what they were getting into?
Most of the time it's not knowing, and it's the fact that the iBuyer will buy your house quickly. Okay, so with that being said, it does serve a purpose if you're in that position, but they can also take advantage of the situation that you may be in, and if they can exacerbate the problem they think you might have, then they've convinced you to do something that you might not would have done normally. So right. I mean, if you're getting behind on your mortgage or something like that, and somebody's agreed to come in and buy it for a lot less than what your property is actually worth, and then charging you all these fees on top of it, whereas typically in a traditional mortgage real estate transaction, all the different fees that are out there go to different places. They're not all coming to the realtor.
Sure.
The realtor has one fee. That's it, whatever the commission is, right? Everything else goes someplace else.
Exactly.
It goes to the mortgage company or the attorney that's closing it, or the home inspector,
and sometimes the appraiser.
Or the appraiser if they happen to get paid. That's right.
Yeah.
And so it's going everywhere. But in an iBuyer transaction, you have more different fees that are listed, but every single one of those fees are going to the same exact place, to the iBuyer, to the online site that's offering you that for your house.
Right.
They have one that has their name on it. The rest of them will all go someplace else, but they all end up in the same spot. Yep. It doesn't make any difference. And they never set foot in your house, so they really don't know what kind of condition it's in. And they may ask for repairs that they don't know whether the house needs or doesn't need. And if they collect for it, and then, because they're planning on turning around and reselling it, I mean, that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And if they collect for it and they don't use it all, you don't get it back. So if they negotiate $3,000 for repairs and you agree to it, and they come in and say, it doesn't look so bad, I think I'll paint it and get the carpet clean. So there's about $800. They just pocketed another $2,200 off that deal.
Man.
And that's not the way it works in traditional real estate. Real estate, you negotiate the repairs with the buyer and the seller until you come up with something, or the seller will take care of it. You just negotiate it.
In a lot of cases with a mortgage, I know FHA, VA in particular, at least they used to when I did, though. I'm sure they still do. But if somebody requires repairs, then they're going to send somebody back out there to check and make sure it's been done.
That's right. They are.
In this case, they don't really care.
No, they don't care.
They got their money anyway.
They got their money anyway, so it doesn't matter whether it gets done. And then when it's all over and done, the homeowner's lost equity, and then the iBuyer company goes out there and just puts it back out on the market and sells it for a higher dollar.
Yeah. Obviously, there are no regulations on this type of transaction like there are in your business as a real estate.
There's not. And, that's part of the issue that we have now is it's misleading, and if the seller doesn't know any better, or doesn't really call somebody to find out what your options are, and talk about what your different options are and match up what that bottom line would be, they just don't know any better and they go with it. The last time we talked about it, I actually had some stuff in front of me that I'd actually gotten from some websites, and I'd printed online of actual transactions that had taken place with iBuyers. So that's just one of them, but that's more of a national thing. So the big one that I was going to talk about a couple of weeks ago, and I don't remember, we got talking about something else.
I think I led you down a path, yeah.
Yeah, you did, but that's okay, because whatever we talked about that particular day was pretty important as well, too. But the other one this is more of a local thing, and I have talked to so many different brokers that are out there and realtors, and I brought it up at the conference that we were in to just some out-of-town people to see. And so this is more of a local thing. And when I say local, I mean like local, like right here in our market area, and that's the wholesale buyer or the assignable contract. And a lot of people don't have a clue what that is. So in the state of Tennessee, It is legal to write a contract for the purchase of a house, but as long as a provision has been given in the contract, that contract can be assignable to somebody else, which basically means if I'm the buyer for your property and you agree to have me, and if I want to assign it, I could actually sell my interest in that contract to another person and get paid for it, and then I'm out. Now you, who entered in agreement with me, now has to deal with somebody else
you don't know
and hope that they close it.
Right.
Okay, now that's one of the biggest problems right there is good faith with me as the buyer for your property, and you like me, we get along, I'm pretty honest, I'm going to close it.
Right.
But some stranger shows up and says, I'd like to buy that house too. Here's $10,000, and I'll buy your interest.
Buy your interest in the
and I'll be like, okay, great. So
now
I just
you as the seller then are getting that.
Yes.
And the buyer is hung out with somebody they don't know that may or may not make this transaction work.
The seller is ending up with somebody.
Yeah.
The seller's ending up with somebody that they don't know. You said it backwards, but I'm the buyer in this case.
Yep.
And so now I've just become the seller of my contract.
Yeah.
Now they're the buyer of your property.
Okay. Now where's the realtor in all this?
Well, a lot of times in these type of transactions, there's not one.
That's what I was afraid you were going to say. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's the problem, and it's so difficult. I mean, we battle this all the time, and I know NAR battles this all the time, and we battle it locally. Realtors are not your enemies. I mean, we're here to be your friends, and we're here to help you.
Yep.
Anytime that you have a business model where the person you're helping, anytime they do better, you do better, that's always the best business model.
Yeah.
But anytime where the person you're helping, the worse they do, the better off you are, that's
not
a bad
good.
business model.
That's not good.
Okay? And so the iBuyer platform and the wholesale platform, both those people that are the buyers do better when the seller's doing worse, because theirs has nothing to do with what the seller makes.
Right.
Okay? Whereas in our case, we're helping you on your behalf, representing you, because the better you do, the better we do.
Yeah.
The higher the price the sells for, the more that we get paid.
Yeah.
So naturally, we're trying to help you get more for your property, which puts more money in the seller's pocket.
Yeah.
And everybody else's that's on this side of the transaction.
And by regulation and also by the ethics clause that I'm sure you have to go by.
Right.
Then dealing on the front end what's going to happen. As a seller or a buyer, you know what's going to happen as far as the real estate's concerned. You know where all those fees are going. This other way, you're just paying a bunch of fees, and maybe you get it done, maybe you don't.
On the iBuyer platform, that's exactly right. They're all out there, and the difference between the two, they're really similar on the way that they work. The difference between the wholesale and, let's say, iBuyer platform is it's kind of the same. They'll come in. A lot of times they'll know when they show up that you might be in a situation to where you're going to be a little bit more applicable to hear what they have to say, because you might be in a situation where you need to do something. Maybe you're behind on your mortgage. Maybe you've recently had a divorce and or a death in the family or something to where you're not going to be able to stay here much longer. So you're almost in that maybe panic mode. Not quite, but you're real close to, I've got to do something and I may have to do it quick, right? So, okay, first of all, let me say, it is legal in Tennessee, wholesale assignable contract, same thing. It is legal to do it if it's done and it serves a purpose, if it's done in the proper way. But most of these people that show up are not realtors, as you pointed out. They're not realtors, and they're running around kind of doing a realtor's job, okay, by going out there and doing this as pawning themselves off as an investor when they really have no money or anything tied up in it.
Yeah.
They're representing an investment firm that has all the money. They're not doing it. They're just sending people out to do it, and they're kind of halfway trained, and they only halfway know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they get out there and they spew stuff. The problem is they're not being honest with the other end. And what I mean by that, as a realtor, if I was going to buy your property, okay, if I came to you and I knew you needed to sell your house as a realtor with a realtor's license, and I came to you and I said, Jimmy, I'd like to buy your house. I'm only going to offer you this for it. I have to also say, I'm planning on selling your house or the interest in your house for this amount, which is more than what I'm giving you.
Sure.
But I'll close it with you within the next couple of weeks or a month, and then you'll be out and you'll be done, but I'm going to sell it for a profit later. I have to tell you that. So they don't really have to tell you that
anything,
because they're not under the same code of ethics or the same anything that we are as realtors, right?
Right.
And so they're going in and doing it that way. But here's where the lock comes in. they'll come in and make a promise to buy your house within 6 months to a year after they've done their due diligence process to make sure that the house is in good shape, have a home inspection done, this, that, and the other. And but the issue is the home inspection typically goes all the way up until the day before it expires. So if they have 6 months to close on your house with you, pay you cash for it, and you agree to it, then they have up until that last day before it's supposed to close to get the home inspection done. And a lot of them will make it all the way up to that last day, and then they'll come back and say, oh, well, the home inspection wasn't as good as I was hoping, so I'm not going to be able to purchase your house.
Right.
So they've promised you for 6 months or a year, whatever the case may be, that they're going to purchase your property, and then they don't.
And you're off the market and you're hung.
And you're off the market and you're hung.
Yeah.
The other part is they tie it up. So now then, if something happens or you do talk to a realtor shows up at your door, or you contact them and say, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house, I might be in a situation, they're tied up with this wholesale marketer or this assignable contract. You can't list it. You can't do anything with it. You're currently under contract with this other person, and whether you like it or not and whether they may or may not pursue it, you're still under a legal binding contract because you agreed to it. And so you're just stuck. You can't do anything. And sometimes they'll wrap them up for a year that way. Now, I've reached out to a lot of my investor friends just to see, one, I didn't want to, make them upset, but so far I haven't run across any of the investor people that I know that actually work off of that. Now, they have bought some of those, okay, but not very many. And what I found out is like a large investor group will send these guys out. So they're basically sending feelers out into the market to go find these houses. And then they'll come back to the investor group with, 6 to 12 of these assignable contracts. The investor group looks through all 12 of them, whatever they got. Let's just say it's 12 of them. And they're like, yeah, I like these 3 right here. I think I could go ahead and close on those now. I'll make money off those. And these 2 right here, maybe, but these 6 right here, I don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave these 6 out there, and the day before they're supposed to expire,
we'll back out.
We'll back out of those. And then we're going to take the other 2, and we're going to keep trying to find somebody that'll buy these, but we'll keep dropping how much we'll take on our end, until it sells. And then if it doesn't sell at the end of that 6 months, we'll also back out of those 2 as well. But we'll go ahead and close on these 3 right here. Yeah. Well, my investor friends are like, see, they don't like it because that's an unfair advantage that they have out there on the market, because they're basically buying up property that's not actively for sale.
Yeah.
And they're getting first dibs at it with no intent, but all these other people are getting screwed out of the deal over here on the backside.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You have to wonder about that mindset. The people that have that mindset, I know it's the old thing, follow the money. They in it for one thing, and they don't care who gets rear-ended other than themselves. They don't want to be that person. And that's just as a friend of mine was like, that's just wrong.
It's taking advantage of people that may be in a situation to where they're kind of desperate. Like I said, I don't say they are, but they're close to that, or they're in a panic mode, or whatever the case may be, and it's just taking advantage of that. And that's basically what it boils down to. And if you're a seller and you don't know any better, or you're just not familiar with it, or you don't have anybody to talk to, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, back when I used to do real estate back years ago when I first got into the market, one of the things that my father used to tell me all the time was when people get into a desperate situation, they're afraid to talk to anybody, including a realtor, who's there to try to help them stay in that house, or at least get out of it with as much money in their possible. Because the problem is right now is a lot of people have a lot of equity in their homes.
Yeah.
And when you don't pay on your mortgage, even though you might be behind on your mortgage, you still got equity in that house.
True.
So granted, if you sell it, they're going to want to get paid, but you probably got enough money in the equity to pay off what you need and still walk away with money in your pocket. And but if you let it go into foreclosure, or you panic and you sell it to a wholesaler or an iBuyer company or whatever, all that equity now belongs to them. They've ended up with all the equity, and you walk away with nothing.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's just not good, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And it's not, like I said, it's not that it's not illegal. It's not. It is legal, provided that the people that are doing it in the right way, and it does, like I said, serve a purpose. Also, if it's being disclosed as to why they're doing it, and is it being done for the right way. And unfortunately, too many times, from what I'm hearing that's coming from our local area right around here, it is not being done the right way. It's totally being done, as you said, just following the money, and in my opinion, just taking advantage of people that don't know any better.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad. I hate to hear that.
Well, I hate to hear it as well too, and and I'm sure I'll probably ruffle some feathers, but it's okay. That's what I do.
That's right.
It won't be the first time, I can tell you that.
Yep.
So at least it won't be my clientele.
Well,
somebody else's
if the
clientele.
feathers deserve ruffling, then
Well,
fire
they
away.
do.
Yeah.
And it's I'm tired of people running around out there. They don't come across or say that they're realtors, but they just want to bash on us all the time, and but they don't even know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really just upsets me is number one, you don't know anybody, you don't know any realtors, you're just going by what you think you know. But the problem is you don't know anything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So if I'm going to go out there and say, Jimmy, your car is terrible, but what am I basing that off of?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do I know that it is?
Yep.
Did it fall apart in the parking lot, or is that just my personal assessment?
Or is it just that orange stripe?
Or is that orange stripe? Yeah. Now, if we were talking about Tennessee football, that's a whole nother idea because I've seen all those games.
Yeah, there were thousands of people that turned on their television Saturday expecting a Tennessee football game.
Yeah.
What that was that they got, I'm not real sure. But I don't know, man. That's a whole different thing for a whole different show. And I'm still a Tennessee fan. I'm hanging there with them, but see how it comes out.
Yeah, I still watch them just like everybody else does, and unfortunately, the sad part is I don't expect much when I watch them, so it's really just background noise.
Well, I keep hoping maybe they'll come upon somebody who's having a worse day than we are.
That's funny you should mention that because I was listening to some radio this morning, some sports radio this morning, and they were actually talking about that for teams in the NFL, some of the ones that aren't doing so well.
Yeah.
But they're really looking forward to this particular game because that team might actually be doing worse than they are.
Exactly.
So it may be an opportunity for them to look really good.
Exactly. We have three sponsors on the show that we don't have to worry about their ethics and we don't have to worry about their conduct because they're going to do it right, and they're there to help the customer, to get them where they need to be. First and foremost, Leaders Mortgage Services, that's what they do on a daily basis. They help put people in homes. People that are qualified, that can afford that, and can take on the burden, if you will, of owning your own home. It's not a bed of roses when you buy your first house or even your second house if you don't know what you're getting into, especially when you start looking for mortgages, because it's almost like investments these days. There are so many choices out there, you can get confused, and not knowing, you can pick the wrong one, and you wind up paying more for your house than you would have had you gone to Leaders Mortgage Services and said, here's what I want to buy, tell me what I can afford, and what's all the ramifications. They'll walk you through all the mortgage possibilities. They'll say, look, you're a veteran, here's something that might work. You're a first-time buyer, here's something that might work. It's not just FHA, VA, and conventional anymore. There's a lot of stuff out there.
There's a lot of stuff out there, and I just found out over the weekend they have an amazing thing going on for refinances.
Oh, really?
But I'm not going to quote anything over the air because I'm not a mortgage broker, but if you're interested in refinancing your house, you need to at least contact them because I'm going to tell you it ends on September the 30th. Yep. So I just found that out over the weekend while I was out of town. So
great. Hey, that's good to know.
It is.
Now, we kind of dwell on the buying and selling and the mortgage that goes involved with that, but there are a lot of occasions where you do need to refinance. Maybe you got in at a higher interest rate, and the interest rates are much better now than they were then.
Yep.
Or maybe you need to do some fix up around the house, and you want to just refinance the whole thing rather than going with a home equity loan. They can tell you all that. They can put you in the right place, and it's easy to do. Just pick one of their locations or give them a call at 215-6678. Insurance is another thing that can be confusing. Yeah, to say the least. My father and my brother are both in that business, and I'm still confused from time to time.
I have people to call for that.
Yes, you need to find an agent that you feel comfortable with. And after meeting Angie Hooten Hughes back a few weeks ago, I think anyone could be comfortable with that firm. And Allstate Insurance has been around forever, so you know what you're getting with them. Not only can they put you in a homeowner's policy that'll protect your house and all of your belongings and your outbuildings, and if your she shed catches on fire or gets hit by lightning, whichever one it was, that can be taken care of also. But on top of that, they can help you bundle your other insurances into one package: your car insurance, your liability insurance. If you're carrying a liability umbrella, maybe a second home somewhere else, they can put all that into one package, save you a lot of hassle and save you a lot of time. 668-1990 is the phone number there, and they'll be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about what your needs may be and help you get it right. And then there's Bird and Bird Attorneys. Charles Bird and that family have been around this area. I believe they started about 1985 or so, and they can take care of any transaction you need as far as real estate concerned. You don't want to think about foreclosures, but that is a reality in some cases, and you need to be in touch with an attorney to walk you through that process. But on the front end, there are title searches to be done. There, you want to make sure that there are no encumbrances on that house when you get it done. Deed restrictions are something they will look at. Subdivision restrictions are something they will look at. Long and short of it is, when you deal with Bird and Bird and you sit down at the closing table, all of that has been taken care of for you, and you can trust them that that is a clean deal when you sign that note and that deed of trust, that you're getting title to that house and it's clear and good. When you get ready to sell it, you won't have a problem down the road.
That's right.
Bird and Bird attorneys, give them a call. They're good folks.
They are.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Now, I remember something back in my day, and I didn't see these very often, but I know they were out there, and this may kind of tie into some of these other odd situations that you're dealing with now. There was something called a land contract.
I knew you were going to bring that up before when you first started talking. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
What exactly, what do that do? And is it something you really want to get involved in?
Not really. And I'll be honest with you, I hardly ever hear about a land contract anymore.
I don't anymore either. No.
Now, as far as I know, those are still legal in Tennessee as well, too. But basically the way a land contract works is usually you would see an investor that already owned the property. Mm-hmm. It was free and clear.
Right.
Okay, so they owned it outright. And then they would sell it to somebody on what they would call a land contract. And basically they're selling you the land, not the house that's on it, but the land that it's sitting on, which changes the whole dynamics on what they can do if you default on the loan. Okay?
Right.
So if you buy the house from them and they do an owner finance, that's basically a mortgage. It's just an owner finance.
Exactly.
Now then they're underneath all the rules that apply with that about how much notice do you have to give them, and does it have to be published in the newspaper, and does it have to go to auction and blah, and all the other things that go along with it if they do an owner finance, okay? Or even if they own their own little mortgage company, which that's different now than it used to be as well with all the changes that were made a few years ago.
True.
But, either way, it's a home, and it shows up as a home, and it's a home loan, which means it's a mortgage, and so you have all these rules. But when it comes to land, that's a whole nother story when you're talking about land, because it's land, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody defaulted on the loan, they could literally show up and say, you got 10 days to be out because you defaulted on your mortgage, you got to go.
Yep.
And even if they would even need to give you that amount of time. And it was another one of those where from what I remember, and it's been a while ago, the original reason why they were doing it that way is because the default rate was so high on those type of things that it was easier for the landlord, mortgage holder, whatever you want to call it, for them to do it this way, because then that way both parties have skin in the game. But if you look at it from a kind of an ethics point of view, not so much. Basically, the actual mortgage person, landlord, whatever, they have all of the equity on everything,
right.
And the buyer basically has nothing, because literally they miss one payment or late on one payment, and they were gone just like that, with no recourse.
Yep.
You
better to trust a realtor. Stay down the middle of the road, and because this will be in 99.9% of the cases the largest financial transaction that you will ever do.
Yep.
Unless your rich uncle leaves you a couple of $1 million. Then you don't need all this other stuff. But so you need to be careful with it. You need to deal, and this is where the iBuyers and the internet and the all the internet sites come into play. For me, being raised in a different time and a different business mode,
right?
I want to be, if I'm going to borrow $150,000 from you, I want to see you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want to know who I'm dealing with.
Exactly.
And one of the questions I'm going to ask, because I found that I wouldn't probably ask it as a first-time buyer because they may not know, but I'm going to ask that lender when they say, okay, we'll lend you this money. Number one, what's my interest rate? Is it locked in? Number two, are you going to sell this loan, or am I going to be dealing with you?
That's right.
And selling loans sounds like something that's kind of shady. It's not. We
not.
used to do that when I was in the savings and loan business back in the 70s. You'd package up a bunch of loans, but in that case, customer service was, we always retained service.
Okay. All right.
And we didn't sell them just 100% out. We would get a fee.
Okay.
We get a percentage of the payback, plus we would maintain the service.
So
if you bought a house from me and I sold your loan to a guy in Florida, you still coming to me to make your payments.
I got you.
So from the customer standpoint, that didn't change.
I don't know that they still do a whole lot of that now.
It's secondary market. It's with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and all that stuff.
There's a lot of changes going on with that as well too. But
it's a little different now because you're going through them rather than selling one individual savings and loan to another.
That's right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've seen a lot of people, and I know we have started out and gone off with one company, and before it's all over and done, I won't say which mortgage company that I've been with forever, but I always end up back with the same mortgage company. So no matter who I go with, I guess my name populates out there, my wife and I's name, and they just recognize us as being past clients. And so somehow or another, we always get picked up by the same mortgage company. So we always end up making our payments to the exact same company.
Man, these days you never know who's got your name and address and your data and everything.
As somebody said, there is no such thing as being anonymous online. If you've got anything online,
it's there.
It's there.
Yep.
Just might as well get used to it.
I got the 10,301st call the other day about car warranties.
I get those all the time.
I decided I'm going to walk it through and see what they want.
What they offer?
Yeah. So she says push 1 if you'd like to talk to an agent. So I said, I push 1. I get a live voice.
Oh, somebody actually came on the line.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be talking to a computer. First question out of her mouth was, what make and model car is it that your warranty is running out? I said, lady, you call me.
That's hilarious.
At that point, I got the hang up.
Did you really?
Yeah. She slammed that phone down in a hurry because she had no idea what kind of vehicle they were trying to sell me a warranty for.
Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you what, I don't know if you've ever seen any TED Talks on YouTube before.
Yep.
And there's thousands of them out there, and they cover every topic. But they're one of the most viewed TED Talks is out there is a computer guy that actually takes on a internet marketer.
Yeah.
And just will not leave the guy. I mean, the talker will not leave the internet marketer alone.
Yeah.
Like, he is literally just totally role reversal, and it's just like, I mean, to the point where the guy's like yelling at him and mad at him because he won't stop calling him now because he's got his number, he's got all his contact information, and he won't stop calling him.
I love it.
And he's like, where's my toaster? You promised me a toaster. And he's like, there's no toaster. So
why am I sitting there with a loaf of bread?
So anyways, it's hilarious if you ever get to go in and watch that one. So
you're listening to The Voice for Real Estate. Brent Ward is the host and presented by West Tennessee Association of Realtors, sponsored by Leaders Mortgage Services, Allstate Insurance, Angie Hooten Hughes, and Bird Attorneys. And it's my fault. Paul, back in the corner. Paul Schulze with Worthy Road Productions gets this thing out on the Facebook page. There he is.
There's
one hand free, the rest on the control. We're not in any danger at all. Thank you, Paul. We appreciate that. Paul does such a great job of getting this out there. And this is on Facebook Live on the CWTAR Facebook page. And if you missed part of it, missed all of it, go back and check it out. Some interesting information, some stuff that I had no idea was existing.
Yeah, the good news is hopefully we can to get these things changed will actually require some legislation.
Right.
So it's not just something you can make a local change, and a lot of states have already done that. This type of thing's not allowed in some states, and Canada, as a country, has made a complete change.
Wow.
To that if you're wanting to do a wholesale deal, or you're wanting to do an assignable contract, then a realtor has to be involved. That was the change. America won't do that because we're not inclusive. Not everybody that has a real estate license is a realtor.
True.
But Canada, that was one of the changes they made, is that you had to be a realtor in order to be involved in a wholesale and or a assignable contract type deal. So anyways, I'll keep you informed if anything comes up, but I know there's going to be some legislation that's going to be brought forward. It's going to be coming up to not to get rid of it, because it does serve a purpose, but to get a handle on it and to make sure that it's regulated.
Level the playing field a little bit.
Totally.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. All right, we'll do this again next week about 10:15 with another topic, real estate related topic. And questions I get all the time, and why they ask me, I guess from an appraisal standpoint, they want to know what they're, and we haven't talked about it, I don't think, and maybe we can make a contact that can enlighten us.
Okay.
And that is reverse mortgages.
Oh yeah.
Some say, it's not a bad thing to do. Others say run as fast as you can run in the opposite direction.
I hear both sides of that deal.
Yeah, me too. So maybe we can find somebody one week.
Oh, I'm sure I can dig up somebody
that
can give us both sides of the coin.
Right.
Because I think in the long run, it's up to whoever that person is that's going to have to deal with
it. As the old guys used to say, it depends on whose ox is in the ditch.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Brent, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Jimmy.
See you next week. We'll do it again on CWTAR, the voice for real estate.